buy-in from the relying party.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of this is being done independently of the relying party.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
We've got the third and last example that we'll get to is a retail one. Every single American has an average of 12 loyalty programs, but none of us carry around our Blockbuster card or our American Airlines cards, and it's not a malicious thing, it's just a pain in the neck. And you know, if I used Travelocity 10 years ago, I don't have anything against Travelocity, but it goes to that intent earlier. Capture my intent, but don't ask me for my Travelocity credentials every time I want to go and book a flight in the middle of the afternoon. So you're right, Craig, it's like you don't have to have that buy-in, and it's very viral very quickly. So let's go to the second one. We met with Vivek Kundra, who's the federal CIO, and showed him some of this, and he loved it. And one of the things that we came up with, and again, this is an example of manufacturers' recalls. So a lot of us, you know, have products that might be recalled or might buy them and have recalls later, and aren't aware of it. So we put a safercar.gov card together. So Greg, if you want to go over and show our second example. So here's a Costco high back booster seat, and you see in the upper right, attention, this product's been recalled, please click here, which is a federal government defects and recalls page. And if you click there, Greg, you go there and you'll get all the information on it. True story, about 3 weeks ago, my wife's driving down we got a town in Chrysler for the family truckster, and it kind of like just short circuits down the middle of the road while she has the kids in the car. Freaks out. We take it into the town and Chrysler dealership. Turns out it's got 4 recalls on it. You know, something as silly as a light, but other things, oh, that's major things. Well, we had no idea as a consumer. Well, if you buy a car or if you buy a safety seat, and say, I don't want to know when everything's recalled, I just want to know when my little corner of the world is, so my family's safe or my car's safe. Perfect example of how can we leverage this technology today, and how can you use Acxiom as an identity authority or a claims provider to say, yes, this is the piece of information, again, as a champion of privacy, to enable this.
But in that case, what is Acxiom doing?
Well, you can verify the identities, or depending on how the card's issued. So we could go to the car manufacturers and say, we can help enable this. So as somebody who's bought this card, by the way, you'll get a card. Or as a consumer, you can say, no, I might be made aware of this, and I can go do it.
I see. So it's the Acxiom card that is causing that information.
Acxiom could have Acxiom has, for example, VIN numbers of every car in the United States. So we don't need to have you ask us for the VIN number, but we can verify that.
It's all 3 things, Kim. It's the Acxiom card in a selector with the data.
Right. No, I see that. I was just trying to understand exactly what role Acxiom, whether it was in the back end or in the card.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's all 3.
It's all 3.
Tim?
Yes.
Can I make a comment and then ask a question?
Certainly.
I, being the revenue girl at Kynetx, am so excited about Acxiom, and here's why. Not only does Acxiom have sort of linear data about people, they have relational correlations that mean something. Real, purpose-based context. So for example, hope you don't mind if I bring up this one example, but I love this one. They have a financial stability index on households across the United States. And what that does is it correlates 15 or 16 different data points about your household, and then they assign you a number. It's sort of like a credit score, but it's much richer, more interesting, and gives better data to marketers, developers, etc. So you can think about business models around that rich data. Think about mortgage lead generation models, multi-pronged purpose-based conversion apps, just even an advertising model around that. Nobody else can touch that. That is really, really valuable context. So here's my question. If I'm a Kynetx developer, how do I get a hold of that data?
Where's the head of the development program for Kynetx?
Sean O'Quinn!
Hi, Sean. We heard yesterday you're the man, right? It's going to be there by 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just teasing. Well, it's a great question, and the most exciting thing about it is we're there. We're not there today, but the conversations are there today. So, in order to help knock down the ones that are being asked for on a daily basis, we can help, and we've got a couple of huddles this afternoon to talk about the current opportunities. And it's the thing that I really am so jazzed about the Kynetx model is the openness to it, and to have the entire development community be open and just shock us with what they're going to come back with. And we have the same expectations as Acxiom. Is just as that earlier example with the fishing licenses. There's data that we have that we would like to have people get exposed to just come back and create incredible value in the market. And we don't come at this. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. We come at this in an unconstrained way. There's a lot of providers out there that want to say, hey, it's my data, I'm going to lock you up, and blah, blah, blah. I love Kim's, one of Kim's laws of identity is a pluralism of providers. We have an enormous amount of data as an organization. Other companies have other types of data that we don't have. That's a beautiful thing, because we're not trying to solve world peace at Acxiom. We're just trying to solve our little corner of the world and help people move forward with a lot of the very important things that we're talking about here. So we're in motion to get it. There's a bigger question there as far as the reference data versus the marketing data. But the answer to the question, Christin, is we're in motion to get everybody, all the developers' hands on it here very quickly. Our final example is a retail example. This is just an example, not a live one. Say, for example, you go to Land's End, say, man, I love you guys, I'm going to sign up for your loyalty program. You go on your merry way, whether it's next week, next month, next year, and then you happen to move on to one of their competitors' sites. So what's the problem? You're a very loyal customer, and you've expressed your intent that I'm a loyal customer and I want to spend money. So how can we capture that intent in real time? We have that credential on our device, and we happen to end up on a competitor's website, and you have a little, what's called in the marketing world, a win back. You love down, then you love the Land's End down sale, preferred customers only. Click here and you'll save 20% today by using this promotional code. Come on back here. So don't go dating another girlfriend while you told me you're going to date me. Yet another example of it's not malicious, but it doesn't capture the context. And that's what's so beautiful about, okay, well, we've got, the data, we've got a selector, but now we can capture that intent in the context of which people are going about their business.
And if that feels malicious, turn the card off.
Right, precisely. And I love the small conversation we had yesterday of, well, how do you let the competing things begin? And Kim touched on it in one of the last questions is bring on the pandemonium. And just like in the real world, whenever I try to get people's heads around it, it's like, what happens in the real world? Well, I probably got, 5 or 6 cards in my money clip. I don't have 49. And use the ones that I care about. So if I have a 7-year-old who's a Cub Scout, that's a context which he brings to the internet. Well, I want to turn that on and I want to turn that off. We can do that with this technology. And with a lot of the data assets that here that can create tremendous value and really stop a lot of bad things from happening. Doc.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good.
Does he have a microphone?
Can I just be loud?
Burton's gonna make you.
Make me what? I'll move back a little.
King!
You're Lord. Lord and Lady Burton. So I'm wondering, so if I have a self-issued card, and that self-issued card names Eddie Bauer and Land's End as entities that I have a relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
What happens with that? What do you call it? A web something? What happens?
Depends on the rule.
What's that?
Depends on the rule.
Depends on the rule. Okay, I would like to be able to write a rule that says, or have a rule, I don't necessarily have to write one, that says, A, I have relationships with both these guys, and B, right now I'm looking for whatever it is I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
What happens then if they're busy having something at their end where they're busy competing with each other? I'm kind of looking for how that plays out in the balance of power